Hey, this is Jon Kovach Jr. I'm excited to present with you on a few ideas and tips that I would like to share based on public speaking and what you should look forward to, especially in a presentation. As you're beginning your public speaking career, or as you just develop the skills of becoming a speaker or a presenter, I'd say that there's some pretty important things you need to just master. And these things are really easy. So here's some 3 tools or 3 easy steps that you can practice and implement to become better at public speaking. And I want to make a huge shout out to you for wanting to actually learn to improve your presentation skills. As I've learned in the world of business and in school and everywhere else in my life, I've learned that as I've been becoming a better presenter and a better storyteller, the more I've been able to improve on reaching audiences, getting what I want, and being in a life and a lifestyle that I want to live. So speaking and presenting is one of the most important things. And I want to share with you just some of my thoughts on public speaking. 3 key areas that I'd like to share with you guys. The first one is body language. Okay. As you see down below, right, you see this little quote here by myself. It's speaking and presenting is the same as storytelling. So if you were hanging out with your friends, if you were hanging out and you wanted to tell somebody the most epic story from your weekend, right? You went to Arches National Park, you climbed up this incredible canyon ravine, and you saw the most beautiful vista. And you wanted to share your friends about the experience, and you want to give them explicit details, right? This is what I like to call, the same as storytelling in body language. If you are going to give somebody a presentation or speak about something, you want your body language to be as exciting and as incredible as you would as if you were telling a story, right? And I know that some of you are going to give presentations, how-to instructions, or things that you would love to talk about or present to your classmates or to your friends or to a future employer, or maybe you need to get a particular product or some sort of service sold to another group. You want to be enthusiastic. You want to tell the story as if you were telling it over a campfire, or as if you were meeting in person and you were telling them about this epic hike that you were just on at Arches National Park. So just be thinking about body language. And then, if I'm moving around and pacing a lot, it better complement my story. If my story is a very nerve-wracking story, I'm going to want to make eye contact. I'm going to want to be inflectuating in my voice. And I'm also going to want to be starting to focus in on all the little things that person needs to know in order to make this the most epic story they've ever heard. Storytelling, presenting, and public speaking skills are a lot alike. So my body language needs to talk more and speak more, or as loud as I am speaking, right? So right now I'm telling you about storytelling and body language, and I'm trying to use my hands a little bit. I'm trying not to move too much or wiggle too much in my chair. I want you to know that I'm seriously committed to giving you these 3 keys as to helping you become a better presenter or public speaker. So body language is huge. I also encourage you to be natural up there. I know speaking and standing and presenting in front of a group of people can be a terrifying thing, but what's actually more fun is telling a story. If I were to tell a story to the group about how cool it is to build a Lego set from floor to ceiling and why it's important, I'm going to throw in my energy, my excitement. I'm going to throw in my ideas, and I'm also going to use my body to tell the story, because that's what we do. You see, let me tell you a story. You see, when I was 12 years old, I first started my business, or my first business, with my mother. My mom and I wanted to save up some money so that we could go on extra vacations. And because we didn't have that money regularly, we wanted to create something that we could do on the weekends and in the middle of the week, so that we could actually afford as a family to take time off and go elsewhere. And so my mom and I would actually go to Costco, and at Costco we'd buy all the best snacks. Okay, you'd get candy bars and the sweets, and you get some chips, and you'd get a bunch of things that we could put into these little cardboard vending slots, or these vending machines. And then what we did is we would deliver these vending machines over to corporate businesses. And then I would put them in the various waiting rooms, or the, let's call them lunch lounges for these businesses. And then we would leave a little slot that said 50 cents per item, and people would come and they'd put in their 50 cents. And when we would just come back every week and replenish all of these things. And from that, my mom and I were able to create a revenue source for us to actually go and see things that I had never seen before. For example, we were able to take an entire weekend vacation and go to the Puget Sound, which is a various groupings of islands outside of Washington State, outside of Seattle, Washington. And we got to go see bald eagles in their natural habitat eating fish on the beach. Okay, we also got to go to the Tillamook Cheesecake Factory, where we got to ask the cheesemakers the actual question, who cut the cheese? Okay, and we even got to go to Mount Rushmore, something that my family would have never been able to do hadn't we not created this business. So do you like this story? You see how much excitement is in my voice? And I also use some hand gestures to kind of help portray the message, from putting the coins in the coin slots, from picking up the candy bars and the chips, to putting them into places where people could buy them. You see how that helps? So body language is super key, as well as your inflections of your voice. And some of you will get up on stage, or you'll get up in a presenter's position and you'll face a classroom, you'll turn around, and before you do that, you'll get nervous, you'll get tight, and you'll start to talk soft, and you'll start to be small, and you won't give it your all. But I want you to know that there is no difference in presenting and public speaking than storytelling. So that's item number one, okay? Item number one is use clear body language as if you were telling a story. Be excited, be enthusiastic, and give it your all. There is no difference. The story is either going to be how to build something and why it matters. It could be, this is what I learned, or it could actually be a story about your epic hike in Arches National Park. Okay, so item number two is volume and intonation. I want the volume of your public speaking or your presentation to fit what you're presenting on. If you're talking about a very quiet subject, something that's very personal, yeah, you might want to bring down the volume. You might want to bring it down. You might want to try something that will actually touch people, that will cause them to come in closer so that their ears are listening. But if you're talking about something really exciting, you might want to back up and use your projection voice and start talking about the exciting things you learned while you were learning this thing or while you did this item. And you want to be able to use the volume of voice that's most appropriate. So practice is key, because you're not going to know what's appropriate until you've practiced. And you don't have to practice in front of groups of people, though that's definitely something you want to try to do. And you know what? Our moms and our dads and our siblings and our cousins, those are great people to practice in front of, but they're always going to tell us how great we are, or they're going to give you some really feedback that you don't want to hear. Okay. But what you do want to try is practice presenting in front of a room. Go stand at the front of the room and see how loud you can project. I love using my phone, and I'll pick up my phone, right? And I'll actually practice recording myself and seeing how loud it will actually be. And then I can kind of practice off of that. So your voice, your volume is important, because you want to be able to project to fill the room. The person that's sitting back in the corner over there, right? I'm pointing at you. The person in the back of the corner needs to hear you as loud as the person up in the front. So that's important. That's very, very important. So if you can do that, again, just like you were telling a story, if I were telling you a story over a campfire, I'd want everyone to hear it. But I also want to use volume where it's necessary. If there's a very, very intense part, I might want to get louder. I might want to space my wording. I might want to slow down and lower my volume at key places so that you understand that what I'm trying to say is super important. You see, when you slow down, when you focus on the message, as if I was delivering the most incredible story you've ever heard, like how I felt when I stood on top of Mount Rushmore, or like how I felt watching a bald eagle snatch a fish right out of the water, take it to the beach, and then eat it so that it can fly up to the nest, right? And feed some of that regurgitated meat from the fish to its little suckling babies. What a cool instant, right? So I wanted to share that with you. So again, volume and intonation is incredibly important when it comes to public speaking. Remember, the speaking and presenting is the same as storytelling. The more that you can make that connection, the more you realize that I don't have to be afraid when I'm on stage. I don't have to focus on things that don't really even exist, don't even matter. The fears in my mind and in my heart, I don't have to worry about it, because what I'm really doing is I've turned a formal presentation into a story. And that story is going to help me teach you or show you or share with you what I had experienced and what I know and what I want you to know. There you go. Okay, that was the second piece. And the third piece right now is using visuals. I've used this broadcasting tool. This one is called StreamYard, StreamYard. It's a free service. You can pay for it and you can get cool branding. Like I've got my Jon Kovach motivation, or I've got little things on the bottom here. This is if I'm recording, or this is if I'm broadcasting like a live stream or whatever. I can use cool tools. There are all kinds of cool free tools that you can use and download to do these types of things online. You can also use really, really great visuals like through PowerPoint and so forth, and presentations on Google Docs and stuff like that. But what I want you to know is that using visuals is helpful to give you a better presentation. You see, if I were telling you a story over the campfire, I'm probably going to bring to you a couple of bags of chips to share with you the cool story. And then even like when I talk about the customer experience and when they would take a piece of candy or a bag of chips from our vending machine, what that experience might look like. And I might open it up like visual aids. Okay. I might put a bag of chips or a king size candy bar, Snickers bar up on the slide to help with the presentation. But what visual aids are not for is for you to turn around and to start reading from it. You see how I've just turned you off? Like this is like not good body language. This is me not giving you the presentation you want. So in order to make my visuals better, or my visuals need to complement what I'm talking about. So it's okay to have a few bullet points or some important words or phrases, maybe 3 to 5 words maximum up on my slideshow, but it should never be point by point what I read from, so that you know what I'm following along. They should be PowerPoints that like say 2 or 3 words on the side that says, Jon Kovach, motivational speaker, started businesses when he was 12 years old, right? But that's all you need to know. And then it'll go away. And then the next thing will be an image of the king size candy bar, right? And then I'll tell you about the story about me and my mom starting our first business together. And then I'll tell you some stories about how I got to go to Mount Rushmore or to watch bald eagles in the wild, right? And then I'll have a picture of a bald eagle so that imagery sticks. But the reason why we use visual aids is for the message to be clearly communicated and to be retained. So if you're telling a story, or if you're presenting on a skill set, or if you're sharing something that you've learned in a project over a semester, whatever it might be, you can easily and quickly project that message to them through a visual aid. So I highly recommend using PowerPoints. I think they're incredible. I think that you should always use a PowerPoint. And I hope that you could do so in a way that helps get the message across more powerfully. I really like a slideshow with a really fancy quote like the one I put below, some sort of inspiring quote or a quote that comments or complements what I'm trying to teach or share. Okay. And then having some cool image behind it. You can go to canva.com. That's canva.com and get free tools that you can use to publish like you were to publish on social media or whatever, but you can create slideshows or JPEGs or these images of inspirational quotes with images and so forth. There are all kinds of tools you can use that will help you, but I want you to know the most important tool you can use is yourself and your ability to communicate the story or communicate in a way that comes across like a story. Therefore, you don't have to worry about anything. All these 3 things I just told you: 1, body language; 2, volume, intonation; and then 3, visual aids. All of these things are for me to tell you that storytelling is the exact same thing as public speaking or giving a presentation. Okay, so my name is Jon Kovach Jr. I'm a motivational public speaker. I travel the world and I speak to people on various topics and subjects, but I wanted to share this quick and easy, simple tutorial on 3 easy things you can do right now to improve your speeches, improve your presentations, and it's to treat them like storytelling. If you have any questions, post some questions in the comment section below, and I'm happy to answer, and I'm hopeful to give you more resources as needed. Thanks, guys.